Well, as the jingle goes, local TV news is on your side, an advocate for the community in both good times and bad. On select occasions, that's meant encouraging viewers to open their wallets for charities like the Red Cross and the One Fund. But lately, it seems no story is complete without mentioning a GoFundMe campaign. It's a staple of local news.
And I can't even imagine what his poor parents are going through.
The tragic loss of a popular teen.
They have a family that's terrified of losing wife and mom, Cindy.
A husband at the bedside of his critically ill wife. Stories like this make an emotional connection with viewers, and increasingly a financial one too. When a Plainville family recently lost their home after a small plane crashed into it, neighbors started a GoFundMe page and used the media to spread the message.
GoFundMe to raise money for them because they don't have anything.
Same too when a Taunton couple were critically injured in a crash with an alleged drunk driver.
Two working parents who won't be healthy enough to earn a paycheck for some time. A friend of the family set up this GoFundMe page, hoping to make up some of the difference.
The need for financial help can be a relevant detail of the story and illustrate the tough choices people face.
Jason, who's a single dad, opened a GoFundMe account looking for help.
Swallowing a lot of pride, and it takes a lot of humility, but I honestly don't know what else to do.
Fair enough, but most of these stories go a step further online, where they directly link to the GoFundMe pages mentioned in the story. And that's where it gets complicated.
Awesome kids, wonderful parents, they're great providers.
I'm sure they are, and it's fine if others are fundraising on their behalf, but it's another thing when the media is passing the plate. Yeah, I'm not on board with this at all. I even get hinky when we get involved with anything, even One Fund and that kind of thing. You got to mention it. You got to say it's there. But to be an activist for any fund, at least things like the One Fund, Red Cross are vetted in ways that you never really know what's going to happen with a GoFundMe account, whether who's receiving the money, how it's being used. That's okay. I mean, if people want to donate it to it, but when the media is being the go-between or really being the advocate for that, I'm not comfortable with it.
Well, it's an old problem. Now technology makes it even easier, but certainly those of us who've spent a lot of time looking through community newspapers have seen story after story over the years about families down on their luck and they're having a benefit and you can donate
or a
by
bank.
by writing to this address. So, you know, if that was ethically problematic, I guess so is this, but it doesn't seem to me that people ever really raised an awful lot of questions about that. I think maybe it's the increasing ubiquitousness of this through GoFundMe.
And the direct linking, I don't know.
The direct linking, no, I agree.
Off of a media's website, direct linking to a GoFundMe?
I understand your concern. I'm not sure it bothers me that much, but I think that it's become so easy to do that we're starting to see it proliferate in a way that maybe we should be more careful about being part of that.
Don't mention it at all.
Well,
I think for all of us who've worked at local television stations, and you have, Emily, you know how many calls come in afterwards. Yeah. So then you're faced with all this, where can I reach out to the family? So for a long time, but well before GoFundMe was out there, stations said, well, you can write them because they had the address or whatever. So this is really a technologically advanced piece of that. Maybe you didn't see it on the air, but it was definitely happening. I know that from the local stations I worked at. And I agree with you that there have been some stories, some big ones, about some of these the raised funds not going where they're supposed to, or the people being weird or whatever. So I think if that's the case, then we maybe want to take another look at that. That's the issue. But hey, the process is one that has happened at local stations for a while.
No, there's no question.
Yeah.
I do think the qualitative difference in how easy it is means that it's more ubiquitous, more people are doing it. I'm not troubled exactly by the direct linking. It seems like in this day and age, mentioning a website and something on the internet without linking to it is just kind of against what's become our usual practice. The underlying idea of this becoming an automatic part of the story is more troubling. I think by virtue of mentioning the GoFundMe in the story, on the website, on TV, whatever, it's almost as if you're vouching for the terms on which it's being collected. And I looked on the website, it says, with hundreds of thousands of campaigns, it's not feasible for GoFundMe to investigate the claims stated by each campaign organizer. I mean, they're basically saying, we're not vetting these. If you're a news station, news outlet, and you're even mentioning a GoFundMe outlet, you should have a sense of whether the money is being collected for a real need by people who are actually connected to the victim. I don't know whether that's happening. I suspect in some cases it's not.
I'd say mostly no.
You know, I read about that GoFundMe pitch connected to the Plainville home that had the airplane crash into it, which would be terrifying and horrible, and I wouldn't want to be those people. I feel for them. But the person who started the GoFundMe page said something like, they don't have anything. I don't know if insurance covers what happened to their house. So she had started the GoFundMe campaign having no idea. It looked to me like it was a pretty nice house. It's worth probably finding out if their insurance covers what just occurred or not before you ask people to contribute money to help the family out. I do think this is a problem. The question of vetting, it does go beyond just random GoFundMe pitches, because there was a great story on NPR recently. You guys probably heard it about promises the Red Cross made in Haiti that were not delivered despite raising a massive amount of money. So we think it's okay to say, well, give to the one fund, give to the Red Cross, because we think of them as legitimate organizations. We always need to be willing to kick the tires, I think, on any charity that we're directing people to. If not, when we make the referral, then after the fact, that's really awkward to do if you're talking with someone who's, say, wife is a quadruple amputee, to come back and say, hey, how'd you spend the money that you raised? If you're not ready to do that, it's uncomfortable. You probably shouldn't mention them in the first place.
Maybe, that's what I say, maybe put it on the web. But
don't mention it.
Exactly. Have it, all the signage and all these people. It has become, Tonya Magros, one of our producers here, called her attention. She's just become so ubiquitous. It's like everywhere. It's almost like in every story now. So it's almost like a tagline. And I think people should look at it.
It's a great way to
carefully.
get a screen grab that you can use to stretch the story out too, right? The family has created a GoFundMe page, and you linger on that for a few seconds.
Yeah.